Who the F did I raise? Age 10. For those of you who are new here, I'm doing a series called Who the F Did I Raise, where I am telling the story chronologically about my relationship with my son, who is neurodivergent, who also has several diagnoses. And I'm just outlining how we've navigated these different spaces in our lives, from when he started killing animals to when he poisoned us, set the house on fire, jumped out the window, and everything in between. He's 18 years old now, and so we're on age 10. And today I'm going to talk about how a lot of parents who have difficult children, disabled children, neurodivergent children, how a lot of us are isolated. And a lot of us end up losing friendships, either willingly or unwillingly, due to our relationship with our children. There's no other way to express that. Because we have to choose, and we have to choose our children, right? We can't pick a friend over our children, or a relationship outside of our immediate family over our children. So I've had several friendships lost due to Mikey's behavior, or just a decision that I made not to bring him around my friends because I know that he was a kleptomaniac. I know that he was going to end up stealing something. I know that he's taken friends of mine, one of my friend's father's retirement check. He didn't even know what a check was. He just loved stealing people's stuff. So he took the man's wallet, took his check out of the wallet, took his cash out of the wallet, and hid the wallet in the couch. But he was from Nigeria, and he was not playing that. When I say he called my house and was like, Yushima, you tell Mikey that I am coming to pick him up now and he's going to find my money. And I put that little book bag on him. He was 10. You made this bed. I am not finna get caned for you. Okay, so you better let this man know what you did with his money. I got him good and dressed so he can go back over there and show him where he hid his wallet and where he hid the check. I was just glad he didn't tear up the check, because he's done that to me before, where he's stolen money, ripped it up, hid it either in the wall, threw it in the garbage, threw it outside, or gave it away so he wouldn't get caught. But he ended up finding his wallet in the couch cushions. It had fallen, in the couch, and it was like underneath the couch in that little pouch thing, right? So needless to say, although I had known that family since I was 9, we were not invited back over there, and I couldn't not go there with Mikey because my babysitter quit eventually because she was like, I can't do this. This I cannot do. And I don't blame her, right? Once he started becoming violent, I wouldn't even put anybody in a position to have to watch him. So it was one of those things where I didn't have a sitter, and I didn't want to take him over to anyone's house, and we weren't invited back there anyway. Now I'm sure he wouldn't have minded us coming, but why would I do that to him? I just didn't want to do it. Had another situation where he stole money from another elderly couple. We hung out with a lot of older people. Okay, I see a pattern here. Because we go to bed early too, so a lot of our friends were from church, and we had another elderly couple that we used to just go hang out with, and actually they kicked it more than we did. I'm just be honest with you, and he stole from them, so we had to stop going over there as often as we did. And when we did go places, it was so stressful because now, in my mind, I'm like, what is he doing? And they'll be like, oh, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. And then when we get home, even though we've checked him, he may not bring it home with him, or he may have already stuffed it somewhere or put it in his shoe or under his soul. Child, it was like getting stripped in jail every time we came home or left somewhere, because we would have to check his whole person to make sure he didn't leave out with these people's stuff. And that was just stressful within itself. It was stressful trying to make sure he wasn't taking anything. It was stressful trying to make sure he wasn't tearing up nothing, because he was also in a very destructive phase at this time as well. We had to make sure he didn't run away, because even if we were at a friend's house, he may decide to jump out of their window, right? Or break their priceless antique out of their bedroom, or just it was just always something. So you become very isolated because you want to protect your friends, you want to protect yourself, and you want to protect your child. And so it was always a struggle to try to maintain any type of relationships outside of the house and inside of the home, because it also brought that additional stress in the home, right? Also, there was a friend that I had that I was very close with. Her name was Toya, and I didn't express to her all the things Mikey was doing because she was going through her own struggles. She was going through a court case with her soon-to-be ex-husband. She was working out some stuff that had happened with her children. And I just didn't keep her in the loop for everything. And so we found ourselves in a situation where she disagreed with my decision to allow him to go inpatient for a couple of days, because of some things he had done around the house. Now, she wasn't aware that he had been poisoning us. She wasn't aware that he had tried to stab Jack with a knife. She wasn't aware of a lot of these things because I didn't want to stress her out. I was visiting her while he was at school, when I would get off work, or, on my days off when he was able to stay here with Quan. So it wasn't a lot of those interactions. Or when he did come with me, I made sure I kept my eye on him. So she wasn't privy to a lot of the things that we were experiencing because I didn't want to put that on her plate. She knew some of it, but she didn't know every single thing that he was doing. And so when it was time for him to go inpatient that time, she just disagreed and she was like, I would never let my son or any of my kids go inpatient for any reason. I just couldn't see myself doing it. I would never do that. Right. So I felt like if you knew me as a parent, and she did, right? You know me. I'm not just going to place my child in any inpatient facility, hospital, unless it was necessary. And what they do there is they help to get them regulated, they get them out of crisis mode, and then they come back home, right? But it was interesting because although we had stopped talking, I did end up seeing her or talking to her again a while later, and she ended up having to make a decision about whether or not she wanted to put her oldest child in inpatient facility, an inpatient hospital for children, so that her child can get regulated because of some trauma and some things she had gone through. So I say that to say this for friends who have friends or family members who are dealing with a child that's difficult. You don't know all the ins and outs, all the nuances. It's impossible to know. Either they're unable to tell you everything because it's just too much and it's always something, which was my case, or they may want to, shield their child from some of the judgment or the shame that can come with, already being isolated and then having all of these issues, which was also an issue for me. Or they just may want to protect you from it, may not want you to have to worry about all the things that they're going through. So just have some grace, have some understanding for each other, and have some patience and kindness. Everybody needs that. And believe your friends or your family members when they say, no, you may not want to invite this child over for a sleepover. And no, it's nothing the parents necessarily doing. It may just be that they're protecting you in another way, keeping you safe. It's more in my book, Picking Up the Pieces to 100 Broken Promises, which can be found on Audible. It can be found on Amazon and also every major bookstore. Thank you so much for watching.